up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to start off the video just talking about some of the things that I may be planning coming up ahead, and then I'm going to do just a quick get ready with me kind of video using my new Midnight Masquerade palette by Colourpop. This is in collaboration with Disney, and these shades are just so beautiful. I love it. There's mattes, there's like some really nice shimmer shades, and then there are two pressed glitters. I'm just really excited about this palette. I love the colors, and I'm just gonna see what I can play around with and do today. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by priming my face, and I have a little makeup mirror over here to the side, so I'm probably gonna be looking at that a little bit, just so you guys know. But coming up, I am planning on making some new content. I have a few videos planned, like this is, by the way, this is the NYX Master Prime. This is just a sample size that I received. I don't even know what it came in. I've had it for a while. I just opened it up because I ran out of my regular primer. If you guys actually have any primer recommendations, please comment down below. I'm looking for a new primer. This one's okay. It's pretty hydrating for me. I have more oily to combination skin, and this is just, I think, leaving me a little bit too hydrated because I put on a moisturizer before I put down my foundation anyway, and so, you know, it's just a little bit too hydrating. Like, there's a good amount of moisture, and then there's like too much. I don't want like my makeup feeling like it's melting off my face, and I love it when it gets just, you know, built up around my nose ring. That's great. Anyway, so coming up, I am going to, I think, try out doing some like TJ Maxx and Marshalls hauls. There's some really good products that are there that are actually really affordable. I had no idea that they even had makeup there. I don't know why I never considered that, but so I think I'm gonna head over there and see what they have, especially with the holidays just ending. I am also using the Benefit Soft Blur Foundation. I use the first shade, Blight, because I'm really pale. And sometimes I also mix it with this NYX. This is more of a full coverage, whereas the Benefit is definitely more like light to medium buildable coverage, but this is in porcelain. It's much more pale, and the Benefit is a little bit darker. I think I'm just gonna stick with the Benefit today, though. I don't want to go like crazy because I want a more light, natural daily look. LOL, you end up doing such a not natural daily look. Also, the holidays just ended, so how was your holiday? You guys can like tell me down in the comments. Mine was insanely busy. It's not even over yet. I have to go actually out of state. I'm going down to North Carolina to see my dad, and that's honestly, it's just a busy time of year for me. The holidays, like, I love them, but they're just so insanely busy. I'm buffing out and blending out my foundation with a Sonia Kashuk flat top foundation brush. I just got this brush set for Christmas for my little brother. Shout out to him. He may have had some help picking this out, but this was a 4-piece brush set, and I just really like the way they work. You don't have to spend a lot of money on brushes to have good quality, and Sonia Kashuk is, I know that they're sold at Target, and I just love her brand. Like, I love all of the brushes. She used to make makeup. I don't know that the brand still makes makeup. I haven't seen any recently, but I also don't have a Target. The closest Target's about 40 minutes away from my house, which is depressing, but I definitely will check that out for you guys. I just think that it works really well. I mean, you just saw how fast that took me just to blend out my foundation. Also, when I do my foundation, I like to put it on the back of my hand to squeeze a little out, and then dot it on, especially where like I'm experiencing a lot of redness or anything like that, and blend it out. I don't like to go really heavy on my foundation or on my makeup in general. I just like a more natural look. Tarte has a really great video with like tips on like a more light, dewy look. All of her videos and content are amazing, but I really like that video because she does have some really good suggestions on, you know, making the face look a little bit more natural with the makeup look. Then I'm going in after that with Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This concealer is, I mean, it's super famous on YouTube. It's fantastic. It covers up a multitude of sins. I just like to place that under my eyes in a triangle shape, and it kind of corrects a little bit of the dark coloring. Any red areas I have, I also just dab it on there. Any breakouts or anything, like I have a little one coming up there, I have one here, and then I just take another Sonia Kashuk brush that I just received in the same set. It's the flat top concealer brush. It looks like this, very similar to the foundation brush, and I just buff that. I like to do a tap and buff motion, just so that you know that you're not blending the product totally away, because for me, my concealer doesn't exactly match. I got the wrong shade, or I've just gotten paler since I bought it. But this concealer, I know also they just came out not that long ago with more shades, because so many people complained about the shade variety. It was a little bit limited at first, but I don't think that they were planning on their product to take off and become as popular as it did. I mean, this is by far the best concealer I have ever used. I can't think of any that, you know, can even compare. And then after I've blended under my eyes, you can see how it's still really yellow because I use the neutral color. It doesn't exactly match my foundation. I just take my foundation brush and blend it out just a little bit, just to make sure it's not super yellow looking on the skin, but it still has that like brightening effect under the eyes. And that looks pretty good to me. Also, my eyelids, I don't like to put like foundation or concealer on them when I'm like doing my face, because I prime them with some primer potion from Urban Decay rather than priming with concealer. Also, you can just kind of go in and do that later. I want to blend this just a little bit more. It is a little yellow. Okay, next I'm going to use the Too Faced Cocoa Contour Kit. This one is a little bit old, but I really like it. It works. It comes with 2 highlights and a contoured shade, and it also just smells amazing. I prefer the lighter shade right here just because I am so pale. And I'm going to take the my Sigma F25 brush right here and use that to do my contour. I like using a big puffy brush. Also, when I go into the color, I like to, I'm gonna go ahead and take the brush out here. I like to go into the pan sideways, so because I'm using the side of this brush, get up whatever product I'm going to use, and then I do a little double tap just so you're not getting too much product all in one place. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in and spread that on my cheeks in my contour zone where I want it to give a little bit more definition. I have a very round face, so contouring and bronzing are really essential in my routine just to give my face a little bit more shape, or the illusion that it has a little bit more of a shape than it does. Also, where I am so pale, bronzing and using a nice blush really help my foundation not make me look like a total ghost. And then I take my contour and pull it up into the temples. You want to make sure that you're blending this out, because if not, it can begin to look a little heavy, and we definitely don't want that, because you'll go from being pale like me to tan, and that's not what we want. Because it's the end of December, beginning of January, and that's just not realistic. I take my bronzing shade and pull it up into the forehead area and try to create a nice highlight in the center of my face. So there's that. That looks pretty good. And then I also take it and go ahead and find that jawline and try to just give it a little shadow. Again, I have a really round face. It's not totally believable that like my face is gonna look like snatched, but we can create a little bit of an illusion of having more of a shape and a little bit more angular look. I was actually talking about this with my little cousin the other day. I was like, you know, I wish I had a really angular face, because all of the beauty gurus on YouTube just have these like beautiful chiseled faces. Like the first people that come to mind are like Tarte, her jawline and her like cheekbones, amazing. James Charles, face chiseled, amazing. My face, a circle. It's literally a circle. So I have to kind of put in a little bit more work when I'm doing my contour just to make my face have a little bit more of a shape. But again, I work with what I've got. Okay, so now that I've done that, I am going to take my other Sonia Kashuk brush that came in this set. This is the blush brush. It is nice and it has the dual fibers. It's really soft. Oh gosh, I love these brushes so much. My little brother did a great job. And I'm going into this Becca palette. I'm going to use the lightest shade right here across my cheeks. Again, I can't really use any super bright blushes because of my skin tone. I am going to take this and tap tap just like I did with my contour colors and buff that out. Make sure you're getting on the apples of your cheeks. This is a little intense, but we will make sure it gets taken care of. So doing this, I don't know. I like blush, but it always just looks like a little bit too intense on my skin tone because I am so pale, but I make it work because without it, honestly, my face just looks so sickly because of the paleness. Okay, and then I am going to use this Tarte, it's like a dual-ended contour and highlight tool. Highlight is on this end and then the contour is on this end. I like to use a cream contour to do my nose just because the powder, you don't get as much control. Also, I am going to take this, all my brushes are a huge mess right now, guys, I'm so sorry. I take the E20 Sigma brush. I know that that's not what this is intended for, but I like to take it and blend out my contour just because this brush gives me so much more control. I also use my fingers sometimes. You don't need like Sigma brand and like all these fancy tools to, you know, make your makeup look good. God gave you hands for a reason. These things blend just as good as this does. Actually, I prefer my fingers even more just because you can get more control. I am going to use my side mirror right here just to make sure I'm getting the shape I want. And I just follow it down. I like to just use this to make my nose maybe look a little bit thinner than it is. And I follow it into where it leads into my eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and, whoops, cap that end. And I take my brush and I do a tap and buff motion. Tap, 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 buff, buff, buff. Because this kind of combination helps to not totally blend away the contour, but it also gives it a little bit more control over where the product is going and settling on the face. Again, this looks really dark right now, but we are going to end up blending it more so that it doesn't look so crazy. The contour is not exactly in my shade, but I've made it work for this long, so yeah. And then I just continue with my brush, pulling the product down. I like to pull it down. A good way is actually giving a little bit more of a shadow effect, and then I go in with my finger and buff it out and pull it down. And then I do the same thing on this side, just blending out the harsh lines with my finger and having it nice and blended. That's pretty good for right now. And can see camera died, so I think I was getting into the highlight. I'm going to be using the Pop of Light, and I pull that on my Sigma fan brush. I just kind of go into the shade, and again, using the side of the brush, pick up a little pigment and pop that on the cheeks and up into the kind of half moon shape around the eye. I really like this shade. I think it's complementary to multiple skin tones because it's more of like a glittery situation, almost a shimmer, rather than that like iridescent reflective look that you see in a lot of highlights. So it's very subtle. Another highlight that I like to use is the Wet n Wild brand. Does actually have good highlights. They're very affordable. This one is my favorite. It's in the shade Precious Petals. I also will hit my cheeks with a little bit of this just to have that kind of iridescent, I guess, look. It does give the cheeks just a nice little like pop. And it, again, is very complimentary of lighter skin tones, kind of like mine, but I think it would also look good on some darker skin tones. Kind of just depends on, you know, if it shows up. But anyway, now that that is done, I'm going to hit my brows with a little bit of Love because they're thin and sparse. All I use is, I've been using lately this little Triseek brow pencil, brow filler, and it is in the shade Americano, and I just honestly fill my brows. I don't do anything crazy. I fill them and I brush them out with the spoolie. This used to be my eyebrow pencil, but I don't have a spoolie tool on its own. I like to use a magnifying because my eyesight's not that good. The magnifying side of the mirror, I mean. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. I have like post-Christmas brain, and like I still even have Christmases left. I don't understand. My family's just like that. I have a huge family, so I mean, I have basically, most people, Christmas is like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. My Christmas is like a week, so definitely a lot more intense. I'm very tired. My wallet is not very happy, but like it's okay. I actually got my mom and I a cruise this Christmas. I picked up a second job, I guess around last January or February, to get this for her, and she cried when she opened it. She was like so shocked, but I mean, I worked my butt off. My mom does a lot for my family. She's always been the one to plan the vacations and the trips, and so I was like, it's somebody else's turn, and I guess nobody else is gonna do it, so it's gonna be my responsibility. And I stepped up to the plate and got her something that I felt like she just really deserved. Okay, now that my brows are done, I'm going to get into my palette. I'm so excited to play around with this a little bit. These are a little intense, a little dark. Okay, whatever, it's fine. I'm fine. Okay, I think I'm going to go for a like pinky look. These shades are killing me. I love them. Okay, so I'm going to go into the crease with this shade Damsel, and then I think I'm going to go into like the corner with maybe like Gaston and Quasimodo and Gaston, and then I kind of want to like press this into my lid, and that is Djali. I don't know that one. I don't know. I'm pretty good about Disney movies. I definitely think that this like palette gives some homage to some not as popular Disney characters, which I really liked. Like honestly, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was like one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid, so like seeing that there was like Quasimodo in there, I was like, yes. Also, there's like a shade called Mama Odie in here from Princess and the Frog, which I thought was so cute. Again, I'm hitting my eyelids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This stuff is great. I mean, it just makes a great sticky base to press your pigment into. I just like to blend it out a little bit with my finger, making sure it's spread evenly across the lids, because my lids are a little bit like veiny, so it kind of also covers up that a little bit. Okay, now I'm going into Damsel into the crease as my transition shade. Again, I put into the pan and I give a little tap tap just to get off any excess pigment. You don't want to build up too much, and I just take this, you swirl swirl, swipe swipe, windshield swipe wiper motions, and that's pretty good. I'm in the magnified setting still. Oop. Okay, blend that out nice and even. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the other eye. Again, just swirl swirl, swipe swipe, very easy. I honestly love Colourpop's shadows. I feel like so many of their collections and like eyeshadows are just so affordable, and they're such good quality, especially when you're getting things like, you're getting such a good variety. Like this palette in particular has a good variety of colors. This is flattering to everyone, and you get those pressed glitters. I mean, oh, it's just such a good deal. I think the palette was like $22 or something like that. Very affordable. I also have another Sonia Kashuk product that I love. I swear by it. This is just a dry brush cleaner. It's a little bit of like a spongy material inside, and you just take it and swirl your brush in so you can change up the shade if you want to. However, I'm probably going to use a different brush. Most of my brushes are fairly clean. I mean, we're just, we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. So I also, again, I love to use my fingers. God gave me hands for a reason. So I'm going to dip into Gaston, which is this nice red pinky color here. And then I think I'm also going to go into Quasimodo if it doesn't darken up enough, into the corners. I like to pick up a little bit of the pigment just right there on my pinky, just enough to tap into the corner right there, and just so you can see it. And whoops, oh my gosh, I need to pay attention and not talk while I'm doing this. Press it into the corners so I can blend it out later. Again, like I said, you don't need crazy expensive products to make like a really nice eye look. I even use my sponge to clean off my fingers. It gets a lot of that excess pigment off so that I'm just not spreading it everywhere. Okay, so now that I have that on, I'm going to take another nice fluffy blending brush. This is the Sigma E35. Just, it's a standard fluffy brush. I still have eyeshadow all over my hands. And I'm going to blend that out just to see how I like it. If I want to add a little bit of extra dark with the Quasimodo shade, which has a little bit more of a purple tint to it. Again, like these colors are just very in right now as well. There's a lot of pinks and reds that are just very flattering for so many skin tones. Like, I think these would be beautiful on like some darker skin tones as well as lighter skin tones like mine. And I'm holding this a little bit close, but again, when you're going in to blend out your shadow, you want to have your hand at the end of the brush. Because if you're doing like this, you're digging and you're going to be putting too much pressure. And I like to go in almost as horizontal as possible, not from down here or up. This, it just seems to get deeper in that crease and actually blend the pigment better. So again, just getting in there, windshield wiper motions, just like I did with my transition shade, and buffing that in. Yeah, okay. And then, what do you guys think? I think it does need a little bit of purple. I think it's just leaning a little too red for me right now. And hopefully this looks a little less crazy once I have on some like liner and mascara. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna darken it up just a little bit in the corners right there. Again, I just shoved my pinky right in the pigment. I don't even care. You know, we're not doing things fancy, okay? Like, if I can do this, like a kindergartner can do this. I mean, really. Well, maybe not a kindergartner. Kindergartners probably shouldn't be in makeup. But, you know, when I first started in makeup, I remember watching like Tarte. She was really the first person that like taught me anything about makeup. And when she was like, brushes have a purpose, but we don't actually have to use them for that purpose, I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, this is a powder brush. It has to be used for this and this. And she was like, actually, no, you can do it for whatever you want. If you think you can do it to like for this other thing, I was like, you can. I was like, I never even thought of that. Like, I just, when it comes to makeup, there are rules, but they're not really rules. You know, bend it, make it how you want it to be. Make makeup whatever you think it should be. Come up with your own looks, you know, play with it. Makeup should be fun. It's not something that needs rules. And I mean, honestly, that's just what it comes down to. I think it's awesome. I think it's so much fun. Okay, I'm going to go in with just a little bit more primer potion just to make sure that that inner part of my eye is sticky again, and I just tap that onto the inner half of my lid. Again, I don't want to do too much because it'll, you know, mess up the pigment I already have pressed down. But now that I'm happy with that blending, I have my potion sat back down, and I'm going to go into this shade called Jolly. I think that's how you say it, I don't know. And I'm going to pick it up Actually, you know what? I'll use a brush. We'll get fancy. I'm going to use the brush that actually came with my Urban Decay Naked palette. I really like using this flat side to pick up pigment. And when you're doing this, do it just like I did before. You take the side of your brush and you drag it like this. You don't want to go in with the tip because you're not going to be using it with the tip. And then you want to pick up pigment the same way that you're going to be placing it on the eye. So I just take it and drag it, and then I'm going to place it like this and put it down in patting motions. Okay, tapping that on, tapping it on, blending it out. Just, you kind of do a drag motion when you get a little bit closer to that darker pigment, just so that it's nice and blended. It's not like a hard line between the two. And patting that on this side as well. Doesn't look bad yet. Haven't messed it up totally yet. Maybe I shouldn't be talking. I'm gonna jinx myself. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, now I like that. I think it could be better. So what I'm going to do is, let's see what I have in this. Yeah, okay. So I have this mini little Dream Big palette by Tarte. You know, this is great. It has a very good variety of shades. As you can see, I really like that one. So I'm going to go into You Can, which is this nice gold shade here. And I think that this would just be really complimentary of this eye look. I'm going to tap it on top of the Djali shade just to add a little bit more of a glittery shimmer look to that. Brighten it up a little bit. Perfect. Okay, now that I have that done as well, I'm going to go into Risk Taker right here, and I'm going to take that on, let's see, this nice little taper brush. This is the Morphe M412, and I'm going to just pick a little of that pigment up on my brush, tap, tap again, and press that into my corner to just give a little highlight right in there. That looks good. Tap, tap, tap. Pressing it in. Okay. Eyeshadow done. We don't need to mess with it anymore, otherwise we're gonna end up looking crazy, and we don't want to look crazy. I'm just gonna use this Voluminous Liner Noir by L'Oreal. It's just a nice standard felt tip eyeliner. I like to use it because I like felt tip eyeliners because it has a lot of control. I also like this one because it has like a nice triangular shape, so it just fits in my hand really nicely. It's comfortable. However, there are other really great eyeliners that are out there by other brands. Again, I'm going to flip it to the magnifying side because my eyesight is not the best. And so I like to hold down my lashes. I know you're probably not supposed to. I'm sure it causes premature wrinkles. I don't really care. I hold down my lashes because my lashes are long and they get in like my liner and I can't, it's a mess. I hold down my lashes so that I have like, also it holds my eyelid taut so I can get a nice good clean line. So that's what I'm doing with my hand here on my lash line. And I just like to go over the top lash line, gently making a thin line. I'm not doing anything crazy. We're not doing a wing. We're not going insane. Nice and thin. Okay. I got pigment under my eye because it's still on my pinky. No big deal. Okay. And doing the same thing on the other eye. I should have probably just done this separately, but it's fine. Me personally, I like to do both eyes at the same time. Some people prefer to do one at a time, but for me, it just seems like it makes more sense. I can tell like if they're even by doing them one at a time. Those liners look pretty good. Okay, it's even enough. One thing I did forget to do though, with my shadow, is I like to take this, this is actually a crown brush. It is C513 and it's a nice little pointed end brush. You can use another like blending brush like this one. It's a little bit fluffier. I just like this. It's a little bit more precise. And I'm going to pick up the new Dream Shadow, which is not quite as dark as Quasimodo. It's a little bit purpley, and I think I'm also going to pick up a little bit of Gaston and just smudge those across the waterline underneath my eye to give that nice effect of the dark shades coming down under the eye as well. and just doing those nice and neat. It just adds a little bit of a nice like effect when you do this. I like the way it looks. Pulling that in. Okay, yeah, actually I am mixing Gaston and Quasimodo. I like the way that looks a little bit better. And again, like if you decide that you would prefer something else when you're doing your eye look, you can totally switch it up. I mean, the Lord made makeup wipes for a reason. I blow on my palettes. I'm sure that's not sanitary. I'm sure the beauty gurus of the internet would say don't do that, but I don't like to get pigment everywhere. Okay, and now that I've done that, I honestly smear it with my finger if I don't have a clean brush, which I... Alright, so my camera ran out of memory this time. It has officially died and ran out of memory in one video. Okay, so this intense look is almost done. It's very like nice, it's blended. What's lacking? My lips. We can't have this awesome, beautiful look without having some color. What I like to do, because I get foundation on my lips, I don't like to leave that. I like to have a nice clean base to set my liner and whatever lip products I'm using. So I take a Q-tip, get it a little wet, and go around my lips and clean off any foundation, concealer, whatever else has gotten on it. This to me, I mean, it's not fancy, but it does a trick. You saw how pale they were. Now they have that natural color back to them, and it works. I'm not going to leave that cakey mess on my lips and then put more product on top of it. That's just not what I'm about. Okay, so I'm going to line my lips with Oh Honey. It is a lip pencil by MAC. It's in the shade. I went ahead and sharpened it up a little bit for you guys. So I like to just trace the lines of my lips. This shade is nice and light. It just helps me like kind of find where I'm going to be putting my product. And it's nice and light because my product is going to be nice and dark. It's just going to give a little definition. And if you get out of the lines a little bit, girl, that's okay. You've got a Q-tip right there. Clean it up. No big deal. Like it never happened. Honestly, I think Q-tips are an underrated beauty tool. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the Tartiest Lip Paint by Tarte. This is in the shade, I can't read that. The shade name's not on here. I guess it's because it's a deluxe size, I don't know. Cute color. It's just like a dark pinky nude. Well, it looks light, but it's not. And I go in and coat my lips. I just like to rub them together to kind of give an idea of where I need to follow next. And if you want, like, sometimes lip products like these, the applicator causes some of your product to build up in certain places. You can take a nice little lip brush. Well, I'm gonna get it everywhere, so that's fun. You can take a little lip brush and just blend out the edges where you feel like product is thickened up a little. Again, I'm gonna take this to clean up my lines, my Q-tip. Me personally, I have just gotten into lip products. I'm not a big lipstick wearer, but I'm trying. So you guys let me know in the comments like what kind of lip products you use, what would you recommend, what's worth the money, what's not. And that is really, it for this look. What I like to do just to seal everything in place, I usually do this before I do my lipstick, is I just set it down with this NYX Matte Finishing Spray. Super affordable. You can find it at Target. Again, oh, I inhaled it. Works. Doesn't taste great though. Try to not taste it. So this is my finished look, you guys. It's definitely a little bit more glam. Nice and blended though. It's cute. It's really nice for like a nighttime or an evening look. I'm going out to the city tonight, so I'm pretty excited. But yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see next on my channel. What are you guys looking forward to? How was your Christmas? And I hope you guys have a happy new year. Bye.